Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 99. This week, we're going to be talking about Secret Invasion, which is the new program from Disney, or Disney Plus for Marvel. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zaberwolf. If you haven't seen the show, maybe catch us in a replay once you've caught up with yourself. There's 6 episodes in this season, so we're going to be going over it for the next 6 weeks. If you're new to the channel, just make sure you drop a subscription on the channel, leave a like on the video, and if you're watching a replay, let us know in the comments below what you think. Here we go. Yo, what's happening, dude?
Hey, how's it going, buddy? I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Kind of butchered the intro a bit, but hey, fuck it.
Nah, don't worry about it.
It's live, so we can't fix it. What's up? How was your week?
Week's been good. Just been quite busy with work. Finally did some stuff around the house. It's been a while since we've actually done some improvements. I don't know if you ever had to like replace things for your sink.
It's a project that's on the way. We actually bought a new sink, and it's sitting in a box waiting to be installed. We're getting new like countertops, so we're kind of half redoing the kitchen because we had to add a dishwasher because there was no dishwasher. The people who bought the house originally, they never put a dishwasher in.
What the fuck?
I know, dude. I'm like,
that's psycho. Like a standard.
Psycho, bro. We were in the house like 4 weeks before. I was like, look, let's just get one and throw it in even before. Like, it's just sitting beside the counter, like exposed. I'm like, I don't care. That's how much I need it. Like, you know. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, we did the bathroom sink, actually. We didn't replace the bowl or the countertop or anything. We just need to replace
taps.
Yeah. So pretty much the job was easy. It's just like you ever like try to turn a screw or a nut or something, and it just for some reason won't budge. So for some reason, like there was one part left that we had to get undone, and it just would not come undone. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, and Katie was like, don't worry, like if you break it, it's fine because this is the thing we're going to replace. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I go to the top and I grab one of the handles and I literally just go and it jostles the nut underneath and I'm able to unscrew it.
Nice, dude. Bit of brute force, never hurt anybody.
Right?
Yeah, didn't really do a lot with the house this week. We kind of hung up some new shelves in our kind of sitting room / dining room area, and that's about it. We just have to do a bit of painting in that room, and then like the kind of downstairs of the house will be complete then when we get the kitchen done. And I still want to do a few more bits with this room, but it's fine for now, so I don't really care.
One question I had was like, you have enough rooms for like you and your daughter and your son, right?
Yeah, so at the moment my daughter sleeps in our room because like she's still a baby, like she's not even 6 months yet. So we have this little like bedside cot thing that sits at the side of the bed, and then we're going to be building a proper cot for her, which she's going to go in then for a couple of months, so she won't need her own room for a while, I'd say. And then maybe, so my son's in the room next to us, which is kind of a smaller room, whereas on the floor above us we have a big room, but he wanted, when we moved in, for us to all be on the same floor. So it was just probably a comfort thing, really, like, because we're a new house and stuff like that. But I'd say as he gets a little bit older, he's going to want to move up onto this floor where my stream room is. And he'll be in the room next to me. I'd say he'll get his own room, and then she'll take his old room. I'd say that's probably going to be how.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's good. Like we have enough space for sure. Yeah, it just might be, I don't know, I might just have to look into a little more soundproofing when he gets a bit older and he's in the room next to me. Like I don't want to be gaming at like 1 o'clock in the morning, screaming and waking him up because he'll be bursting in to give out to me, you know. That's the last thing we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, this week we had Secret Invasion. Kind of as we're chatting, if there's people in the chat, also shout out to anybody who was here at the start of the stream. But if there's any news or rumors or anything like that anyone wants to bring up or have us talk about, by all means, just throw it into the chat. Also, if you're watching this on a replay, leave us a comment below, and we'll continue the conversations afterwards. More than happy to. Let's jump straight in. I think Secret Invasion, episode 1. What did you think?
I really feel like nothing happened. Like I just
feel the same.
it was just very much like, I get it. You have to talk. You have to kind of bring in this perspective of what actually is going on. But like, I don't know. Like, it just feels like they just dropped us in out of nowhere, and they're like scrolls, and I'm like, yeah, oh, okay, like it is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fury's back. All right, that's fun. There's these other people that we've probably seen in the past that I've kind of forgot about. So it just makes it really like memorable or nostalgic in the sense like we see, of course, we see like Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, and we're like, that's cool, great, cool. Like we love Samuel Jackson. We see Martin Freeman. Is that his name? Yeah, it's Martin Freeman, right?
Love Martin Freeman.
Me too, man. Like he did. I feel like he did a good Bilbo. Like I know not everyone liked the prequel trilogy for Lord of the Rings, but like it was still fun.
Yeah, it
was still a little bit fun.
I thought it was too stretched out. I'm not a massive Lord of the Rings. Like, sorry, I love the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, but never read the books or anything like that. So I'm not attached to the storylines as much as people who've read the books are. But I do know that The Hobbit was one book, and then there was 3 books for the original movies, and it really did feel like they stretched one book into 3 movies like that. That's how it felt. It was stretched out way too much.
And that the last section with the Battle of the 5 Armies, like apparently Bilbo was knocked out during the entire time. So it's like, what the fuck? He's still up at the time.
I think my favorite thing that I saw Freeman in was Fargo season 1. If you've never seen it, it's fucking insane. It's so good. I actually didn't watch because I watched the first episode of season 2, didn't like the vibes of it whatsoever, but season 1 as a standalone is its own thing, and it's fucking amazing. And I hear season 3 is very good, so I might have to revisit Fargo, but Freeman was just incredible in season 1 of that show.
So yeah, he's a fantastic, and his comedic timing is also fantastic. Have you ever seen some of the skits that he's done? They're just hilarious. I love his awkward moments.
Yeah.
Like when he was in the store and he was like looking at stuff for, I think, his girlfriend or something. And this woman comes by and he's like in the panty section.
Oh, God.
I am not a creep.
There's a UK and Irish kind of comedy show about a bunch of priests. It's called Father Ted. Which is like, it's legendary over this side of the world, but they had an episode very similar. I know he's English, so I wouldn't be surprised if they got that inspiration from this show. But yeah, like they have a thing like where it's like a gang of priests get lost in the lingerie section of a big like mall, and they can't find their way out. All like, so they're trying to sneak around because they don't want to be called like creeps or anything like that. Like they're trying to sneak around and like get out without being seen and stuff. It's very funny, very funny.
Yeah.
So anyone from this side of the world will know exactly what I'm talking about.
So it was really fun to see him. The guy who's doing Talos right now, is that actually him? Like, is that him without the makeup?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's one thing I was really interested in. Was wondering like, are they going to do just voice changes for different characters, or are they just going to actually like have the actor step in and just do different voices?
He's a big actor as well, so I presume that's why they've done it. Yeah, like I know even when because he was in Captain Marvel, right, and he did both versions of his human self and the Skrull self. And I would have been shocked if they didn't bring him in. I'm trying to think. I saw him in a show recently. He was in kind of like a serial killer kind of drama show. I can't remember what it was, but
that sounds fun.
He played a cop in it, and he was fucking brilliant. It was so good. Maybe look up his IMDb after, and you'll get the name of the show. I just can't remember. Like, so many of those shows on Netflix, they all kind of feel the same to me. So like I can't distinguish them apart. Not to say they're not good, but it's just they all seem like they're the same thing.
Right. So I would say, going back into Secret Invasion, I have a question for you, Finto. How much do you think they were like, we could save so much money if we don't transform anybody, we don't do any sort of like big cameos, we just put the people that are in humans, like human form throughout the entire time, we don't change them out to Skrulls, we'll pan out, we'll pan back in, now they're a Skrull, like no utter like CG transformation, nothing, just
it pissed me the fuck off, dude.
Like, we'll save a ton of money.
off the back of last week's episode, like in last week's podcast, we pretty much spent 2 hours or an hour and a half talking shit about like the Flash and CGI and all this sort of stuff. Like, and here we are again in episode 1 of a 6-part series where the budget was probably close to the same as the Flash movie. And like, why in 2023 are we still talking about shit CGI? I don't get it. Like, that jumped out at me night and day. Where your man like put the hat on and he took it off and he like transformed and he was a different person. And it was like such a cheap camera trick to save them money on CGI. Like, it was just ridiculous. And then like when they went into the scroll base, and like this gang of scrolls, it's all about like, oh, we want to be accepted, we want our own world, we want to be ourselves. And like that's the kind of motto. So you would think when they're all kind of in their little hideout together that they would all be scrolls, but they were all in human form. And again, it's just a way to not have like either CGI or like prosthetics and stuff like that put in just to save money. Like, so yeah, dude, it was very blatant to me, and it was quite annoying. And I found a lot of it was very predictable as well.
Oh, of
like
course.
the episode was, for me, like, it was very mid. Like, I got like I very much got kind of vibes of like Falcon and the Winter Soldier off it. Like, it was the same sort of like kind of level of TV for me. And what annoyed me as well was like coming up to the end of the first episode where they're out in the square and the bomb goes off. Like, we saw that bomb go off in the trailer, so I was like, why did they put that in the trailer? Like, I knew that was coming. Like, it was just so annoying. Like, why? Yeah, why? Why did they put that in the trailer? It was like so stupid. Like, that would have been a nice surprise to know that, like, okay, they're trying to locate the bags, and there's a bit of double crossing going on here, and I wonder, will they get them? Like, the second they got into that square, I was like, okay, the bomb's going off. I know this. They're gonna fail. Like, so it was just so stupid. I don't know why they did it. And yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really trust anything that's going to happen in this show, because this show is going to be one of those ones where you're going to be scratching your head going, wait, I thought this was happening. Hang on, he's a scroll? I thought he was thing, So like, when, spoiler alert, when Maria Hill dies at the end of the episode or gets shot, like, you don't see her actually die, I don't think, but I'm like, I don't trust that Maria Hill's actually dead. I see a lot of people talking online. It's like, oh, I can't believe they killed her in the first episode. She's gone. Wow, what a way to go. Like, little disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, if she is dead, I bet you that's a scroll as well. Like, I don't really trust anything right now.
I know. I can agree to that, but they also like panned out pretty long for that one. And, from what I can tell, her scroll that was taken over for the time being actually is gone. So
yeah, she was the wife or whatever, or Emilia Clarke's mother, right?
Right. So
she's dead, but other scrolls can take over the bodies. Like, it's a quick swap. Like,
very true. It's so hard to tell right now, and it's early game. So like, at the moment, I'm not really giving it a pass, but I'm giving it like a you got one warning, motherfucker. Like, you need to pick up your game. Like, episode 2 better blow us away, because this is bullshit.
I've heard also episode 2 is a lot better.
Okay, cool.
That makes you feel any better. I've heard it's a lot better than episode 1.
Because like, what is this CW type like explosion too? Like, that was fucking lackluster.
Yeah, like, I was planning to rewatch the episode again today, and I just didn't get the time. But yeah, I don't know. It felt very kind of okay.
Yeah,
and cool. Fury's old. Just... we get it. They made him feel so old. Like, I was just like, oh.
And the idea behind like using an explosion, it's like, what's the cheapest thing we can do so that we don't have to employ anybody else or do anything that's spectacular? Let's just do a bomb. Let's set a bomb. Let's put a button. Let's hit the button. Bomb goes off. Like, how boring is that, dude? Like, we're like, you're in Marvel. Yeah. Like, bring some characters out. Like, I know Don Cheadle's like busy as War Machine right now. He's over at the White House. He's dealing with all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But like, there's heroes everywhere, man. Like, this is the problem with Marvel is that they have an entire catalog like of heroes that are just much grander than DC. Like, there's 70,000 characters you can mess with. Not all heroes, but like, there's a fuck ton. I just read some of the comics for Secret Invasion, like the original 2008 comic. It like, there's fucking at least 30 from the first comic. Yeah. Like, it's insane. Like,
you heard that they were told like to not read the comic or anything.
That's dumb. Yeah, I remember that. I remember reading up on that, and it's like, oh, we never read it.
Here we go again. It's just like, yeah, it's like, don't read the source material. Just read the script. Don't worry about it. It's like, why name it Secret Invasion then if you're not even going to follow the storyline of like the source material? Just makes no sense to me.
Like if this was an original film, if this was like an original motion picture where like nobody knows what's happening in the movie itself and nobody needs to know. I understand if you're not allowed to like read the script onward, you can only read a certain part of it. So then, only the directors know how far it actually goes and what goes down deeper into the rabbit hole and whatnot. But you have source material for all this shit. Come on, man. Stop dicking around with us. Like, what are you trying to do? Oh, it's so fucking frustrating because like it's just so easy for them to write an A-list show by giving us what we want, and they're not doing it. They're just pitter-pattering and yanking us by the chain. They're like, oh, you love Marvel, we love it. It's gonna be okay. It's fucking.
I think the reason why they're not following the source material is just because, and again, I haven't read. This is just my understanding from what I've heard, but Secret Invasion. My understanding is that like a lot of the Avengers, a lot of like the top tier Marvel heroes are all Skrulls. So like you've got like Iron Man's a Skrull, Captain America's a Skrull, everyone's a fucking Skrull. So you're kind of like, I kind of understand why Disney Plus aren't doing that, because they're they're not putting any like A-list superheroes in this show. And again, right. I don't understand why. You've gone to the effort of getting like Sam Jackson back. Like, why don't you have Falcon showing up? Why don't you have Bucky here? Why don't you have like Spider-Man showing up again? Like I mentioned, like, why is Spider-Man not here? I understand maybe Sony won't release him, whatever, but like fucking Kate Bishop, the Hulk, get as many people in as you can. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right. Like this is like, this should be on paper. This is a big show. Like, you've got Sam Jackson back, and it's about an invasion on the planet. Like, it's like, why wouldn't you have as many heroes in it as possible? It's weird.
Because they did the dumbest thing ever, which is kill and let go all of their heroes. And I don't care if you have to recast them or whatnot, but they need to come the fuck back. It's already been too long. Yeah. We're not in a situation where we can wait for comics to move forward and then have them come back. Like, you literally need those characters. Like, a Secret Invasion is huge for Iron Man. Yeah. Because like I don't know if you read the comics before, man, but like the comics are fucking phenomenal compared to this shit. Yeah. And I know it's because they have all the heroes and whatnot. But no, it's because they had this plot set up to go, and it had everything like wonderful about Marvel. Like, you have all these different heroes. You have like, I think Miss Marvel, you have Captain Marvel, which are two separate things. Miss Marvel is Carol right now. Mm-hmm. Captain Marvel is a male person right now. You have Sentry, you have Spider-Woman, you have Spider-Man, you have Wolverine, the Beast, Ronin, fucking Hawkeye, you have Mockingbird. You have all these different characters, and it gets crazier and crazier because it really turns into this event of like, you really don't know who's who. And for the fact that like they, like in some cases they think Cap is dead, but he's probably not, because dude, I'm sure you haven't read it yet, but like, here, let me give you the idea about this. A Skrull ship crash lands into the Savage Lands where all the dinosaurs are, and they go like Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, like a couple of other characters. I think Wiccan's over in New York. They all go to the Savage Lands, and they get chased by like Iron Man and like some other characters like Ronin and whatnot. And they're like, we need you guys to stop. You're under arrest. Like, you can't do anything to the ship. Don't open the ship. And they proceed to open the ship. And then you find out, because Jarvis is a real person in this world. Jarvis is a butler. Jarvis is a Skrull. Jarvis puts a fucking virus into Stark Technologies. It causes Stark to have heart palpitations, and he's running a fever now because his suit's fucking with them. And then the Skrulls, like, you don't know if they're Skrulls because the ship opens and all the Marvel characters come out, but they're in their old school costumes. Like, you see Luke Cage with the fucking white band on. You see like Spider-Man in his old school suit. You see Iron Man in his like old like 80s to 90s suit, the Tin Man looking suit. And then they all come out. But the problem is here, dude, is that like they killed the Hawkeye Skrull, and then you see Mockingbird. She came out of that ship, and it turns out like she's not a Skrull. So when they're in the ship, there's real heroes and Skrulls. So it's like, now we don't know what the fuck is going on. It's getting fucking nuts. And then you see Reed Richards and Yellow Jacket, which is Hank Pym at the time. They're fucking collaborating because they're like, we need to find out why, like, how the Skrulls are bypassing everything. Yeah. And then you get to the point where Reed is like, I figured out what's going on. I figured out why they're able to bypass everything. And then it turns out Yellow Jacket's a fucking Skrull. He turns around and he's got a gun in his head and he shoots, and you see a fucking spray of Reed Richards just goopified. And then you see the scrolls coming in an armada, and it's like the fucking Vision gets fucking laser beamed through the back of the head. His head fucking explodes. Like they're executing it. Superheroes, man. It's fucking crazy. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And then we get this piece of shit first episode.
Yeah. Oh, they can't go that big, like. But
I know, but
I understand the frustration.
That's the problem, is that they're not trying to go big. They're trying to go home.
They should have named it something else. They should, and they might, like, you know, if you named it like something Invasion, and then, you know, you could say, look, we're taking bits from Secret Invasion, and then kind of creating our own story on top of that.
Yeah,
that's fine, you know, like. But yeah, I don't know why they've done this. Like, it's really annoying. The one plot that I heard from Secret Invasion that I thought was very interesting was the fact that Tony himself nearly drives himself insane because he doesn't know that if he's a Skrull.
He's a Skrull. Yeah, exactly. Because Spider-Woman is the Skrull queen.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "You've always been a Skrull. You've always been a Skrull. Like you're the best sleeper agent we have." And then you see Natasha come through, and Natasha's like, "You're not a Skrull, Tony. Like we promise you're not a fucking Skrull. Like, get your shit together, make a new suit, and feel better. Like you're not a Skrull." And he's like, "I don't know, man. I can't." And he's like, "Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to fight them, or do you want to join them?" He's like, "I want to fucking kill them." So it gets crazy. It's so good.
Hell yeah, dude. No, I love the passion. And like, look, you know, everything you've said there, like, would be an amazing movie, but obviously they've decided or like the MCU and Feige and all have decided to go a different way. It seems like a big waste, you know, it really does.
It's a huge waste. It's like Sakaar. Like it's like Sakaar. Like it wasn't a huge waste for the fact that Thor Ragnarok was a great movie, but it also like ruined the aspect of like Hulk being on the planet Sakaar, going back to Earth because he's pissed, having his World War Hulk, and then right afterwards, guess what? Secret Wars. Like it makes sense.
Yeah. One thing I did like about the show is there's another fella from Dublin in the show. His name's Killian Scott. He's one of the Skrulls who, do you remember, when they're doing like the kind of mind swap or whatever? He's like the tall white guy in that scene, but apparently he's going to be in the whole show. And I completely forgot that he was going to be in it. I read the news probably a year ago and didn't think about it again because he's not a very well-known actor, so it's not like it was making news all the time. But then when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, I forgot he was in the show. I saw his name pop up in the credits at the start. And I was like, fuck. I was like, yes, he's in the show. So it's cool to have yet another Irish person making it into the MCU. It's fucking fantastic. Yeah. And speaking about the intro credits, because I saw this was a big fucking topic during the week online. The AI credits that they used. What did you think? Like, again, I didn't even think about it. If I'll be very honest, like I just watched the intro and I was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, you know, this is the intro. I don't really pay attention to them very much anyway. But the amount of people that were shitting all over it and giving out to the fact that they used AI and they thought that, like, you know, oh, they're taking jobs away from people and all this mad shit. Like, people went like way too serious on it. Like the art looked terrible in my opinion. Like it looked shit.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was like that on purpose. I thought they wanted to do that on purpose.
No, I really think that like this. I feel like this is unless like I'll look up the budget later, but I feel like this is the most like how much do we cut budget in order to make sure that we like don't have to spend a single thing. And if the show sucks, guess what? We probably make our money back in the amount of views for people that want to just watch it for the fact that it's still a Marvel show. And it's like it's just such a fucking kick in the nuts. You have such a great artist, like an art team. You have a great design team. Like, why can't you give us what you've been giving us from the get-go, which is great fucking intro scenes where we see like, you know, the music playing, everything feels like Marvel. This isn't Marvel. This doesn't feel like Marvel. It feels like just a regular show that they just posted on there and they're like, oh, we got characters and they're from Marvel, so we're just going to paste them in there. That's how it feels, man. Like if they're not taking it seriously and they're putting AI images that are just kind of wonky and weird into it, like it would be great if they had told us ahead of time. It's like, we're going to try to move with like AI for the intro because we think it's so wonky.
Yeah.
We want it to look wonky for the intro. Then it'd be like, okay, so prepare for shit that doesn't look right, basically. If they had preemptively told us that, like, hey, we're doing this on purpose, I don't think anybody would have batted an eye at that point. Like, we understand AI is not perfect. And so, like, by not doing that, it's like, where's my cool intro, Marvel? Where's my Loki intro? Where's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't think had a real intro. I think it was just really quick, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was nothing jumps out. I don't really remember. I'm
Right.
looking to try and find the budget here, and I can't find it. It's usually listed on IMDb, but it's not actually here.
They're hiding it.
But honestly, like I'm looking at the cast, right? And you've got like Sam Jackson, you've got the guy who plays Talos, Ben Mendelsohn. Olivia Colman is like a big actress right now. Then you've got Emilia Clarke, obviously. And then like Colby Summers, who plays Maria Hill. Like these are all like big actors. So I would say Martin Freeman, obviously, on the list as well. Don Cheadle. Like you've got all these guys who are big names in Hollywood, probably desire quite a pay packet to appear on a TV show. So I would say I'm going to guess half the budget has probably gone to casting, to be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's coming across like clear as day in the show. I really do hope that it picks up. But like, have you heard of any of like the kind of plot leaks or anything like that? Like, or
nothing of the sort, man. I kind of was hoping that like I'd just be, in the dark about it, because this is supposed to be a show that surprises you.
Yeah.
And so far we have like nothing is really a surprise. I feel like I walk through the front door and they're like, surprise. Like, yeah, I know it's my birthday and whatnot. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
Looking at the IMDb and the casting and the cast listing, like I don't even want to say this, like, but it does say how many episodes certain characters are in. Like Martin Freeman, 1 episode. So he's done already.
Yeah, because
Don Cheadle, 1 episode. He's done. Like what?
I mean, that might.
Brody's done already.
That might actually just be because they're going by episode and they'll update it accordingly.
No, because Sam Jackson, 6 episodes. Talos, 6 episodes. Emilia Clarke, 6 episodes.
Oh God.
Colby Summers, 5 episodes.
Okay. Then that's fucked. Because like, if Don Cheadle was 1 episode, it's like, then what the fuck was the point?
That was it. Yeah, exactly. And if you want to keep it a secret, I won't mention any of the leaks or anything like that or any of the.
No, by all means, leak it, dude. I'm just not looking for it. But if you have it, I want to hear it.
Okay, I'll tell you. What I've heard, and I think what it might maybe make the show a bit better. But yeah, spoiler warning: if you don't want to hear it, mute the tab for like 2 minutes. But yeah, basically, on the rumor mill at the moment is that Rhodey is a Skrull, which I think is kind of obvious because he's in the White House and everything. It would make sense to make him a Skrull. But the rumor is that he's actually been a Skrull since Civil War.
Okay. I like that.
Pretty interesting. So the real Rhodey that's still out there potentially didn't get paralyzed, which would be interesting.
That'd be fantastic.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So apparently, like they say, like some of the scoopers and stuff say, like what they're not revealing everything, but they say by the end of the show, it's going to shake the foundation of the MCU. Like a lot of stuff is going to be different. There's going to be potential stories that we've already heard that are going to be completely changed. Like there's another one. If I'll tell you another one if you want.
Sure. Yeah, dude, dish him out.
Power Broker, Sharon Carter,
okay.
Skrull the whole time, which I'm actually kind of happy about because I thought that storyline was a load of bullshit. Like,
it was.
I'm like, hang on a second, like she's evil now. I'm like, what's going on here? So again, makes sense that a Skrull took her face, like used her identity to kind of build up a crime syndicate or whatever. So I kind of like that one if it is true. I'm trying to think, what did we have any other ones? Yeah, I don't know for now, but anyway, those are the kind of 2 big ones that I heard. But yeah, like I don't know, like the fact that by the end of the show, it's going to affect your rewatches of the MCU. That interests me, and I don't know if maybe that was kind of put out there just to kind of get people interested and keep people watching. But again, the fact that like Maria Hill's listed for 5 episodes in this series kind of tells me that either she's alive or maybe that whole death scene was a fake out, which I wouldn't be surprised by either.
Yeah, because when you think about it, and I can kind of agree with you on this, like you can like you don't just get shot a couple times and then you're dead unless you've been shot in like truly vital points and then you're dead. But like if you're shot in certain areas and then you're left there, you're probably just sitting there dying, and like at that point you don't have to turn back into a Skrull until you're completely dead, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like yeah. We could say it like that.
Yeah, like so. Again, like there could be multiple versions of characters that pop up in the show as well. Like we don't know, or we could be dealing with flashbacks as well. Like so, maybe she is dead. I really don't know, but I got the feeling straight away that she wasn't dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was worried. Zavin in the chat, like, are the spoilers over? I'm like, I'm surprised you give a shit. And he's like, oh, no, I don't care.
Yes, for chat. Yeah,
what a viewer. Thank you, dude. Like, yeah, like I don't know. I think this whole series, I think you're right in what you're saying. Like, this whole series will be kind of like you're kind of guessing like who's who, or what who's this character really, or because like again, it's secret invasion. So I presume that like everyone that we're looking at is probably going to be a Skrull by the end of it. Like, and also, can we talk about Fury for a second? Like, I was kind of rewatching because Marvel put out a Legends episode on Nick Fury, kind of recapping Fury all the way up to here now, and like the scars on his face seem like really severe now, and they have never been that bad throughout the whole MCU. So I'm like, is this a makeup mistake? Which again wouldn't surprise me with like the lack of budget and everything in this show, but part of me is thinking like, is this the real Fury that we're seeing, and he's actually been a Skrull for almost the entire MCU? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he went off in the 90s with Captain Marvel and he hasn't really been on Earth much since, because like this version of him now, I understand he's older, but at the same time, like, how much time has actually passed since we last saw him in the MCU?
This is after She-Hulk, right after She-Hulk.
I mean, how many years though? Like, because he looks really old and he looks very different. So I wonder, are we seeing the actual version of Fury now? Like, this is actually him, and then like the versions that we've been seeing online, like on like in each movie throughout the MCU has been a Skrull. Like, obviously we know for a fact around the time of like Spider-Man 2 and stuff, he was a Skrull. Like, he wasn't in that movie at all. It was a Skrull the whole time. But I think that, and I think this has been kind of rumor, or like kind of theorized for a long time within the community, because wasn't there a scene where he was like, "Oh, I can't eat my sandwiches diagonally," or something like that, and then he's seen cutting them diagonally in, I think it's Ultron, and you're like, "Oh shit, that's not Fury," like, So I think it's going to be revealed that the real Fury's been off planet for almost the entire MCU, if not the entire MCU.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I can see that. I can see that kind of coming through.
Yeah.
But an even bigger thought to that, to be honest, like, so we just recently talked about, and you're aware of the fact that Spider-Woman, who was actually the Queen Skrull in the comics, was telling Tony that he is the sleeper, like their greatest sleeper agent.
Yeah.
So who's to say that they aren't going to do the exact same thing for Fury and tell him that you've just been the greatest sleeper agent we've ever had, and that you've been a Skrull the entire time? Like, who's to say that they don't pull that kind of rabbit out of the hat? Even though they said before that they've never read the comics, there's still people that are probably giving them a little bit of insight here and there. It's like, well, this happened. Well, this little thing happened. It's like, okay, well, great. Well, we can use that. We can put this in there, because if Fury is such an integral part of the series, then wouldn't it be great to tell him that he has been a Skrull the entire time, in the sense? Which
I think it would be a good twist for sure. If, like, throughout the series we find out, okay, this is the real one, and then he confirms, okay, there was a Skrull version of myself in the MCU for thing, and then you find out, oh wait, the one that we thought was the original is actually a Skrull as well. That'd be pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. And I think that'd be fine. I think I'd be like somewhat okay with that. It's just the way that they go with it. If it's done poorly, then it's gonna suck. But also, I'm also on the edge thinking that that silhouette that we saw a while ago when they were like transferring the minds over to the Skrulls to take over the humans. I also look at that silhouette and I'm like, that kind of looks like Fury with his jacket up. So like, it's just, I'm like, a part of me is like, please don't let it be that there's a second Fury that's always been around. Because that will surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah. But it just will end up feeling like such a big cop out, because if that's the case, that sucks. But if the whole, like, you've been our sleeper all along, kind of giving a nod to the comics, I think that would be even better.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember who I saw talk about this online, but I haven't actually watched many other streams about it or like anyone else's reviews. Like usually I kind of get the chance to do that, but I didn't get a chance this week. So I'm kind of just going off my own review of the show. I'm not really kind of influenced by anybody else, but I did hear somebody talk about, I don't know if I read this or heard someone speaking about it, but the way when Maria and Fury are having a talk kind of before the last scene, she's kind of like, "Oh, you're back on Earth. You've been gone for so long. You're aging. You're not the same man you used to." Blah blah blah. Um, Someone mentioned it that like the scene where she gets shot, it would have been a much better scene if it was actually Fury who shot the real her, and then like he did it out of confusion because it's like, oh shit, like oh, I'm not the man I used to be, blah blah blah, and that he shot her by mistake thinking that she was a Skrull. I think that would have been made for much better storytelling rather than like a fake version of Fury shooting her and confusing her. If it was actually the real Fury shooting the real her, but it was just like he's not as sharp as he used to be, and then you can kind of play off the kind of story of him aging and so on, which I think would be very interesting. I think I think they should have done that. I think it would have made it for it to be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know, man. I feel like with this first episode, I'm already like on the edge, like being that this is doomed to fail.
Yeah. Like how obvious was it that Freeman was a Skrull at the very start? Like
so
it was
fucking
so
obvious.
It was so ridiculously
stupid.
obvious. Like when he fell off the building and splatted, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's like I was like, that is 1000% a Skrull now. Like I was like, I was like, there's no way they would do that to the real Freeman. Like,
right.
But, yeah, it was just so blatantly obvious from the start. And I think like even like Maria getting shot by a Skrull and then him like switching back. I just think like. Are they doing the kind of shapeshifter cheap tricks already? Like in episode 1, like I can expect this stuff to come, but I thought that they might have tried to do something different.
But it's fucking Marvel right now. They're just they're taking what they can as a budget because they're probably putting into their movies and not giving anything to the TV series, which is such a fucking big middle finger. I like a part of me like. And it turns into these things where, how like eventually becomes like a conspiracy theory. They're just trying to amass all the money, man. They're just trying to get as much money as they can out of it. They don't want to make good stuff anymore. They just know that they can regurgitate everything.
Yeah. Well, like I think it was down to all this stuff is happening due to real world influences. Like this is a fact. When Bob Iger left Disney and he appointed Bob Chapek his successor, what happened was JPEG decided that we've got a streaming service here, Disney Plus. We need to put it to use. Let's put out like brand new projects all the time. Let's be churning out the content. Iger didn't want to do that, but he was gone. So it's like, we need to turn streaming. We need to make, Disney Plus as successful as Netflix, and we need to be bringing all that revenue in. So it's like, let's put out a show almost every fucking week of the year. And it obviously very quickly on, we learned that it just wasn't working. It wasn't doing what they wanted it to do. And now Iger's back, JPEG's gone again. So the guy who originally was kind of in charge throughout the MCU is back in charge. And I think it's probably giving Feige a lot of the old control back and a lot of his original control. So I think, we're going to come out the other end of it, but I think we're going to have to actually wait probably another year or so for the last bits of the JPEG kind of saga to be kind of flushed out of the MCU. So I think, they're probably going to get back to where they were. Like I have faith that they will. There's a lot of really, really good projects coming down the line. And I think Marvel and the MCU will get back to greatness. But, there's just this shit bit in the middle that's going to be always known as like phase 4 or phase 5, where it's just going to be rocky ground for a little while. And sure, phase 2 didn't work too well either. Like there's a lot of kind of shit movies in phase 2, which obviously aren't as bad as what we have now looking back. Like I think your rewatch of the MCU after what we've experienced in the last year, 18 months, you're going to go back and you're going to watch stuff like Thor: The Dark World, and you're going to be like, oh, this is actually great. Like, or even Iron Man 2, like you're going to rewatch that and you're going to be like, this is a fucking good movie, like, compared to some of the shit that we've had recently. So, again, they're kind of lifting up some of the worst projects from the back catalog. But like, again, this like some of this new stuff is just really, really bad. Like She-Hulk, complete flop, complete fail.
Trash.
Miss Marvel, Miss Marvel by a long shot, in my opinion, is the worst fucking piece of shit that they've put out. And there's shows that are very close to it, and it's just mind-boggling to me that they're in this situation, like coming off Endgame. Like, could you imagine like trying to predict this? Like, it's like after Endgame. Imagine saying straight away they're gonna start releasing bullshit and just like sinking the whole thing. Like, you'd be like, nah, they can't. They can't. Like, they're on fire. Like, they can't miss. And then you're just like, boom, we got.
I mean, you think about it this way, man. Like, you reach the peak of the mountain, the other side is not really continuing on. It's got to work its way back down.
Yeah, you do got to come down the hill at some point, but I don't know, bro. Like, again, I just don't understand because, it's not like they don't have money. It's not like they don't have source material that they can just continuously go off. I personally don't understand how they can miss when you have just,
your buckets of source material.
Gold. Like gold is in the vaults. Just go get it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's all there for the taking. Just use it. Like, it blows my mind.
Well, and I completely understand how you feel about the whole, like, we can't really put all these heroes out here, Finto. Like, but so then why are you showing us so many different heroes and villains from like these other shows that could potentially just be in the show for no reason anyway? It would be fun. Just collaborate them. Just do it. Like, just give us everything you can possibly give us, and I don't care if you have to downgrade. I don't like it's. I know this sounds weird, and I know you're probably not going to agree with me on this, but I kind of wish that there was a movie version of Iron Man and a TV version of Iron Man, and I'm talking live action. So like Robert Downey Jr. was our Iron Man for the movies. Let's have somebody else who looks similar to RDJ or somewhat like has the kind of the same scheme from the comics be in the live action TV series, just because you could totally kind of get away with that in the sense of like, okay, so this like, and even then that breeds like, oh, is this like an alternate universe of Marvel? Is this something else? Like, that's still fun to kind of like take the concept of and just go with it. I agree. They didn't pick up Ezra Miller for the Flash and go, oh, let's change the CW Flash now to Ezra Miller and have him go forward as the new Flash for the TV series. No, they kept the Flash going.
Well, that's not a very good example because
is it? No.
Well, for the reason
Did
that
it end?
when season 1, episode 1 of the Flash aired, which was back in 2014, they announced Ezra Miller as the Flash for the movie cinematic universe like 2 weeks after the airing of episode 1 in the show, and then the Flash show ran for 9 years, and the Flash movie still hadn't come out. Like, they finished the Flash show 9 years later.
Right.
Actually, 10 years later, but they shot 9 seasons. Sorry, was it? They started working on it in 2013 and they finished it in 2023. So yeah, like they ran for 10 years, but they did 9 seasons, and Ezra Miller still hadn't stepped in and done his own solo movie of the Flash, which is wild to think about. Wild.
But for the fact that they had already casted that person, why didn't they just shove him into the CW and be like, this is your Flash from the time being? Yeah. And then give everyone that impression like, okay, so he's a pretty good Flash. So when the movie comes out, which hasn't come out, like it's been in development hell for the entire time, at least we still have Ezra Miller as the Flash during this time being. It's like we're waiting for movies. Dude, we're in a restaurant right now. I'm gonna give it that. I'm gonna give it that analogy. We're in a restaurant right now. They're just like, we're at a Mexican restaurant. This is what I love. We sit down, we order our food. While we're waiting, they give us hot chips and some salsa. That's your TV shows. We get our main courses from the movies. And right now, we're not getting any salsa with our chips. It's fucking dry chips right now. We're not getting shit.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how we see it. Like the CW Flash is our chips and salsa. And the fucking, like, Ezra Miller was our fucking food waiting to come in. And it turned out to be not that great. So we're not going back to that restaurant anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know why Marvel don't do it, but like it's very, very common for DC to do this sort of stuff. Like, there's been obviously multiple Batmans running at the same time. There's been like TV Batmans and movie Batmans, and then multiple movie Batmans. So there's always like different universes flying around. Even they did like a TV show version of Doom Patrol, and then they had like a Cyborg in that, and this was around the same time as Cyborg was in the Justice League. So people were like, when it first got announced, they were like, holy shit, the one from the movies is going into a TV show. And then everyone was really excited. And then when the first episode of the show came out, it was like, oh shit, this is actually a different actor. So
and that's fine. Because then you perpetuate it.
Elseworlds, bro. That's what it's all about. It's all about
Yeah,
Elseworld.
it's fun.
I know.
Like,
But
the
Marvel seem to be not doing. They seem to be doing the exact opposite. They want to either do it's completely different universes, not connected to the cinematic universe, and it's completely different characters. So, like for example, like that show Runaways that they did or whatever, like it was just like nothing to do with anything to do with the MCU, and then its own thing. And like I think was it what else did they do? Some of the Netflix shows I would have used as prime examples, but now it's kind of different because I think they're being integrated into the MCU.
Mhm.
But like DC are just doing all sorts of different shows, and it's all just part of the multiverse. Like that's the
Yeah.
literal definition of the multiverse. Like
And like they're not like home runs all the time, but like at least you have a fucking run going through. Like I'm pretty sure you were like there were a bunch of shows, there were a bunch of episodes of The Flash that I absolutely love, and I know some of them are trash, but I love these episodes. And I'm pretty
oh
sure
yeah,
you can pinpoint certain episodes to me that you absolutely felt was awesome.
oh yeah.
And
If you go on to IMDb, for example, and go through, the way you can go through all the episodes of the Flash, like you can actually look at the ratings of the episodes, and like in the first 3 seasons, there's a couple of like 9.5s, 9.6 episodes,
yeah,
like almost perfection, like incredible stuff. And like the dude who played him on the CW show, Grant, like he is my definition of the Flash. Like he is my Flash. You know what I mean? And yeah, like I don't know, like I know what you're saying. It is missed opportunities from Marvel side of things, but I suppose they want to have it all kind of connected to the MCU.
but
So it
you
is, yeah.
but you could totally do like just connect it by saying like, okay, well, it's just this is movie version. Like we like
I understand.
we
Look,
don't
when they brought out
yeah.
Daredevil, like Daredevil was not connected to the MCU at the time, and it was the greatest fucking superhero TV show of all time, and it still
Yeah.
is, in my opinion, still is the best ever made. And it wasn't connected, and it was an absolute hit. So yeah, why not let Netflix or somebody else or Amazon or one of these people, or even just do it on Disney Plus, but do a different version of Iron Man or Black Panther or fucking anybody,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
would
why not?
love that.
Why not?
I,
Yeah,
like
why not?
cuz that's the problem with Marvel right now. It's so DC is so like freelance and unlimited that they can just throw out all these things. And some things are going to hit. It's not going to be like, oh, it's all trash. Like we can't like I can't for 100% I can't for sure say that DC is trash because they have such a great animated series. They've done some live shows that were fantastic. I heard like Smallville was pretty fun to watch. Like I heard
Oh yeah,
Smallville was fun.
ran for like 9 years. Like it was very successful.
Yeah, they had Gotham, and I heard Gotham was pretty good.
Great, yeah, great show.
Like they had Flash, and I know you didn't like the ending, but you still love some of the episodes. Like they're
All the
trying to push
yeah,
things.
all the CW shows are great for like the first 3 seasons, and then they go to shit when they kind of put the hack writers involved and take half the budgets away. Like, but that's just the way that that network works. But like they did a show called Swamp Thing, which ran for like 10
I
episodes and then it
remember
got
that.
cancelled. So good, bro.
Wasn't it
Incredible.
supposed to be a horror film, like
It
the type
is.
of horror show?
It is. It's
Yeah,
like very freaky. Like like a lot of it's very graphic and it's uneasy. It's eerie and kind of uneasy to watch. Like, but it's fucking fantastic. And I think did Netflix buy the rights to it, or they gave the rights to somebody, or Amazon or somebody? Like I think it's
hmm
available on Amazon for me now. Like you could watch it, but fantastic 10 episode arc. Like, and I was like praying for it to come back. I think the CW picked it up at one point, and I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" Like if they turn it into like a teen kind of thing, I'm gonna be like, "No, this needs to be dark. It needs to be gritty." But I think there's plans to do something with it. I believe since James Gunn got involved with DC, so maybe they keep it the same and just kind of soft reboot it or something like that. But
right.
that was
I'm
great. Like Doom Patrol is fantastic as well. Doom Patrol's brilliant. Like Brendan Fraser as the robot and stuff is just fucking fantastic. Like it's so
yeah,
good. And they've got Matt Bomer in there as well. Like, and like it's a really good cast, and Timothy Dalton's in it as well. It's brilliant. It's a great fucking show. It's really, really weird, but it's fantastic. If you like kind of weird and wacky, that's the show for you. Like it's amazing.
right. And the only thing that I'm worried about with James Gunn, like although he's a fantastic director, the only thing I'm worried about is that everything is just going to end up similar to Marvel, where everything's just silly.
Yeah,
And I'm not a huge fan of that because it's
bro.
when you
He's writing, directing, Superman Legacy. The first kind of movie of the DCU is going to be Superman Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Gunn is writing it and directing it, and honestly, I'm scared because it's like, there's the kind of darker version of Superman which Zack Snyder ran wild with, and a lot of people didn't like it. Fair enough. There's the Boy Scout version of him, which he's not very funny. He's very serious, but he's very he's a nice guy and blah blah blah. But it's like, he's not funny. Like, there's not supposed to be like kind of slapstick comedy in Superman. Any iteration of Superman, really. Like, there might be a little tiny joke here and there when he's kind of Clark or whatever. But I don't know, bro. Like, I'm worried because I just don't know which way he's going to go with it. Like, if he turns it into like a Suicide Squad sort of thing, like, I'm going to be like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really, really bad. But I suppose time will tell.
If in a Superman movie we hear like, I'm like, oh, fuck. We're in for a world of hurt. Because like Shazam took kind of a hard hit. Shazam didn't really do too well, even though it was a well-received movie.
Yeah. The first, I like the two Shazam movies, but the first one did pretty good because it was kind of, again, around the kind of height of the comic book vibes in the cinema and stuff. So I think it was just going to do good anyway. But I liked that movie. I thought it was great. And then the second one I thought was a comic book movie. It felt like a comic book movie. You know what I mean? It gave me off comic book vibes, like old school comic book vibes in the cinema. Like, and I thought it was great.
Well, it's available on.
But it did terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's available on Max, and I haven't really watched it like, well enough. I ran across it on TikTok. You know how some TikTok videos or live feeds, they actually show the movie and they show like a different, like the other half of the screen, like being Fortnite showing like Spider-Gwen and such. Yeah. And that's how I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie when it came out.
Jesus.
It was because it was like, I don't really care if it's quality cinema. I just want to watch it. Like,
yeah, I think you should probably watch it, to be honest. And
did you actually finally watch it?
The Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah, the Mario Brothers movie.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, okay.
I meant to watch it with my son, and he's watched it twice without me. So I'm just like, oh, forget it. I will watch it though. I will watch it. But no, I mean, you watching Shazam 2. I think you should watch it. Especially with all the Wonder Woman shit at the very end. It's impressively done. Because again, they do the kind of Henry Cavill thing where they just show a shot of her in the movie and it's like she's headless or whatever. And you're just like, oh, okay, they're going to do this shit again. Like, they're just going to have a step in or whatever. But they actually bring her in at the end. But they CGI'd her head onto a double. And I couldn't tell the difference. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing.
So like, well, then going back to the whole Marvel situation, why can't they just do that? Why don't they just do doubles and then have like the characters come in and then have like the cast just be like, hey, can you just do a quick call with us and like give us a few lines or something?
Bro,
we'll give you like.
There's so many people, superheroes that wear masks, dude. Like, you can't even need the actor.
Just leave the mask on.
Yeah. Like, you could have Spider-Man jump in, do a few flips and, sort some shit out, and then use like an AI bot with Tom Holland's voice. He doesn't even need to be there.
Yeah,
I know he's taking a little bit of a hiatus at the moment from acting, like, but like, I'm sure Marvel probably own his likeness right now anyway. So it's like, and same with Black Panther. I know it's awful to say this, but like, they could have done that with Chadwick Boseman's voice for a couple of years, just kept him in the mask and just had like reused old audio or used an AI bot. And I know they didn't, out of respect, want to do that for his character, but they could have done it. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. Like, do you know what I mean? James Earl Jones isn't Vader anymore, but they still have Vader popping up in loads of different projects because, again, same thing. He sold his likeness, so they're just using bots and stuff. Like, so.
Well, was it Chadwick Boseman's brother that said like just recast? He would have wanted that.
That's what he wanted. Yeah, that's what he said, and he always said that in his career. He's like, when somebody's talking about a movie and they're talking about me personally and they're not talking about the character, he's like, that's not acting. Like, he wants people to talk about T'Challa. They don't want people to talk about Chadwick Boseman. It's like he's T'Challa. You know what I mean? So they want the character of T'Challa to live on, not Chadwick Boseman. So that was always kind of his wish, like that. It's the character, not hit the actor. So
and that's how it should have been followed throughout. Like, for every Marvel hero, just because RDJ is no longer playing Iron Man doesn't mean that we can't resurrect him later or have him come from a different universe or like do something with him later on. And it doesn't have to be immediate.
They have
Yeah,
to.
they're gonna have to do something because like Iron Man's so fucking important. And so is Captain America, and so is like the original Avengers are very important characters. It doesn't matter if you come out with the new Avengers, the West Coast Avengers. It doesn't matter if you come out with like the Great Lakes Avengers. Like just the original OG. Like that's fucking
Original 6, yeah.
yeah, the original. Just
Like,
bring them in.
did you see Robert Downey Jr. on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Briefly, I didn't watch the whole thing.
Did you see the clip where he asks him, "Is he going to return as
Yeah.
Iron Man?"
Yeah.
It's a very famous clip. Like it does the rounds. But what Rogan says is very interesting because he's just like, they're, let them make a couple of lackluster movies without you, and then you make your triumphant return. Like that is actually what's happening. Like like
it feels like it.
RDJ, or sorry, like when they sat down and had that conversation, I think it was like 2020 or something. So they actually had that conversation, and it's been a couple of years now, and like real world, the time has actually caught up to the end of Endgame now. It was like 2023, so it's like he could come back now, and he's actually had like 5 years off. Yeah, he could. He could come back and he could just save the day. And like I actually saw a tweet during the week, and I thought it made me laugh, but it's so true at the same time. Someone just kind of put up a picture of Cap and RDJ, like Evans and RDJ beside each other, and they were shaking hands, and it's like, Marvel, whatever you need to do, fucking do it. Whatever you need to pay them, pay it. Whatever bullshit story you need to tell to make it make sense, I'll accept it. Just bring these two back. We need them. The MCU needs them. And it is so true. Now, I know there's been rumors for a long time of Evans coming back, and he's apparently signed on for 2 more appearances. I'd be shocked if he didn't. I don't know about RDJ. I don't think there's any official, like, I think Secret Wars is the big one that they say he's going to come back for. But like, just bring him back. Like, give him the money that he wants. Like, again, do a multiverse story. It's Earth 617. He's the exact same character, but just slightly
changed.
He doesn't have the goatee or something. You know what I mean? It's the same dude. Like, just bring him back. Like, do what you got to do. It just, we'll just accept it at this stage. I think we're like the MCU is in so much trouble now that it would just be so good. And like, imagine like they did. We've been talking about this on the podcast for probably a year now, but like, imagine if they actually did do like the Nomad series with Chris Evans, where he drops the title of Captain America, but he continues as Nomad, and maybe he does the mission where he returns the stones and stuff, and we get to see that, and then he pops into the MCU after, but he's not Captain America. That'd be fucking epic, dude. Just let him stay. Let him do like 10 years. He doesn't have to have his shirt off and like being jacked to the moon. Like, I don't need to see that. I don't think we need to see that. I just want Chris Evans in the fucking MCU. I just miss Captain America. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I agree with you 100%, man. Like, it'd be that easy to just give him a whole bunch of money, tell him like, hey man, we just want you back because it feels like we need you. And that's the big problem is like, you can't let these characters go so easily.
There's a thing on YouTube. I don't know who does it. I think it's like Vanity Fair or one of these things, but it's like Actors on Actors is the series that they call it. And they did one again, I think it was around 2020, and it was Scarlett Johansson interviewing Chris Evans, and they I don't know if you've ever seen this series, Actors on Actors, it's called. It's fantastic. There's like so many great episodes, but like they'll usually get 2 characters that maybe share the screen together at some point, or they're in the same franchises. So like they've done like, Ewan McGregor and Pedro Pascal interviewing each other. So this one was Scarlett Johansson interviewing Chris Evans, and the two of them kind of bouncing back and forth. This was kind of after the hype of Endgame, and Evans is done, but she asks him a question. She's like, would you come back? And he's like, look, he's like, yeah. He's like, I would, but it would need to be perfect. He's like, I don't want to ruin the end that Steve had.
Yeah.
Because it was perfect.
Yeah.
And he's like, I would love to come back. I love the character. I love the MCU, but I'm not coming back for a cash grab. I'm not coming back for a point in the storyline. He's like, it would need to make sense. It would need to be perfect. So that's always kind of been in the back of my head, that it's like, oh shit, okay, so you're not just going to get a variant of him appearing out of nowhere and like him just kind of popping his head in just to show his face. And I think that's why he didn't show up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because it was just kind of like, yeah, seems like a kind of cheap get or whatever, or an easy kind of cash grab. Whereas now it's like, if they do like the Nomad story, I think there would be a really good place for him to come back. And like Disney have bought the rights for that name, so it definitely is something that they're either planning to do or they want to have on the shelf in case they do want to do it. But yeah, like I just think whatever they need to do, just fucking do it. I can't wait until 2027 or whatever. I think Secret Wars has been pushed to 27 or 28. I think. I can't wait that long, bro. Like they got to do something before then.
Dude,
I don't think the MCU survives that long. Honestly, if it keeps going the same way, I don't think it survives that long.
You never know, though. They are reeling it back, like we talked about before. Like they are reeling it back, so hopefully that means that they're going to try their best to fix things and come back around. But yeah, as far as we are right now, I can agree with you a little bit as well. Like it's possible that it's on its way down and it's not going to be as fantastic as it used to be.
Well, here's something that might upset you as well. The Echo show had a screening this week, and apparently the rumor is that they're going to drop the whole thing in one go. The whole season is just going to be released on Disney Plus in one day, which is great. Love it. Yeah. You know, kind of the vibes of like the Daredevil show. You know, you get all like 10 episodes or whatever all at once and just go for it, binge it as quick as you can. I really hope it gets released on a Wednesday because I'm going to want enough time to watch the whole season before we sit down to talk about it on the Sunday. Like if they release on a Friday, I would be like, oh shit, I might not get the whole thing watched in time. So yeah, you know, theoretically there could be a couple of podcasts on it, which I suppose isn't bad either. But I don't like doing a podcast and not have seen the end because someone might come in and ruin it in the chat or something. Like you never know, or leave a comment on it or something. But apparently there was a screening of it during the week and it's being described as another She-Hulk. Apparently it's just not good. Like, so I'm scared, bro. I'm scared.
Dude, what are these like
what are they doing?
Yeah, like I'm not trying to do a self-fulfilling prophecy, but like it's just like what are they doing? Like what are these writers thinking? Like this isn't like I get it. Disney owns Marvel, but you can't do Disney Marvel. Like Disney's Marvel. Like you can't do that. Stop giving us this weird relationship bullshit. Like it's just doesn't work yet.
Yeah.
If like all right, let me calm down. When when we did Homecoming, we had already had a Spider-Man who was already kind of like doing his own thing in the sense, right? So like we had time to understand, like, okay, so he's working with that, like he's, you know, talking to MJ, he's getting used to MJ, like he likes MJ and whatnot. But did they really keep throwing it in our faces? Not that well. It was more so like, okay, cool, I see MJ, that's great. Oh no, something's gonna fall down or like something's gonna break, it's gonna kill people. I have to change into Spider-Man. I have to save the day in the sense, like I can't be there. And it turns into this situation of like I have to be Spider-Man when it matters, like when it needs to be done. And so like his persona, or his other persona takes over and he can't be just a normal kid anymore. And that's how you kind of organically put it in there. It's like, I really want to have a relationship, but it's not the main thing about being a superhero. I have to be a superhero. I have to save the day. I have to defeat the villain and whatnot. Fucking like She-Hulk was like, I have to save the day for one day. And then now I need to find a man. When originally she's like, I'm an independent woman who don't need no man. Like,
yeah, they literally flipped the script halfway through.
They pulled a 180 and it was so infuriating. So like, when I hear you saying that like it seems like they're going to do another She-Hulk, it's like, are they going to make Echo look for someone to like have a relationship with or something? Because that's fucking bullshit. Like it's not fun.
I haven't heard any real plot leaks or anything from that show. But I know Daredevil's, I believe, going to be in like maybe 3 episodes of the show. Kingpin's going to be around. So I'm like, you know, I would think that it would be great, but obviously it's not hitting. It's not landing.
Yeah. Well, like so in season 2 of Daredevil, we had Elektra, right? Like, or was it season? No, it's season 2.
So good.
But it was still kind of like, yes, it was someone that he had sort of a love interest in and like he was interested and he wanted to be with her and whatnot. But like, that didn't matter. Like there was shit going on in the background and he had to do his duties. And then eventually he found out like who she really was. And that caused a problem.
Yeah.
like they didn't shoehorn the fucking relationship into the situation and be like, that's all we're gonna do for the next 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And it worked well. It fucking worked so well. It ended great. Like I loved it. And then on to the third season when they had Poindexter, and that was fucking phenomenal too.
Oh, bro. Honestly, you're making stop talk. We got to stop talking about Daredevil. I'm gonna want to watch it again. Like I've only rewatched it recently as well. Like I rewatched it when I went up on Disney Plus. I don't want to rewatch it again. I got to give it a break for a little bit. But yeah, I was just looking there while you were talking. Echo's out on the 29th of November this year, so it's actually out in a couple of months. Like 5 months time, we'll be watching it. So.
Well, if they've already done some of the screening, then maybe they could fix it. Like if they've already gotten like these weird reviews, like maybe they can find a way. They'll cut, they'll edit, they'll be like, well, maybe we don't need this, maybe we don't need that. So hopefully that, I'm hoping that fixes it. Because
they need to stop taking L's. They really do. Like because
they need a win.
They do. They need a win big, and I genuinely, I keep thinking about I keep thinking back on previous episodes, and I was only rewatching some old clips there recently, and we were talking about She-Hulk, and I was just like, Matt Murdock's going to be in 2 episodes. I don't care if the whole show shit. It's still going to be great to me, and it was like, oh, the whole show was shit except for the fucking Matt Murdock scenes. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be living like this.
The fucking Daredevil episode was one of my favorites because they actually had She-Hulk go into a facility to fight Frogman because he was doing some dastardly shit because he's a villain. And I don't care how goofy it was fucking hero against villain. 2 heroes against one. It was so fun.
Team up, baby.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have done that at least one more time instead of this whole I need to go to fucking therapy situation?
I know. Punisher, obviously, I presume he's going to be in Daredevil Born Again. He's going to get his own show off the back of that. I think that's pretty much been confirmed. Like John Bernthal has come out and says that he's returning as Punisher, which is fantastic. Again, we've spoken about this a good bit on the cast. It was well known that he said that he would have nothing to do with the show unless it would be as gritty as it was on Netflix, which is fantastic that he's signed on. So that kind of tells me that, and I think we were talking about this earlier, but there's a kind of a turning point in the MCU where they're going to try and revert back to where they were. And I think around this time, like Daredevil Born Again, The Punisher, we've got Deadpool 3 coming out. Did you see as well that they pushed Deadpool 3 up the schedule like 6 months or something, or 5 months? They brought it forward 5 months. So it's coming out 5 months earlier than they originally had planned. And a lot of people are speculating that that's the reason for that is that they know that that's going to be a good movie. That's going to be a big movie. And they realize that they need the win. So they're like, shit, let's push this forward and let's move a bunch of other stuff back. Like I believe there was, I'll see if I can find. There was a kind of, someone put up a post about it, kind of talking about the new release schedules and stuff like that. But there's been a good few shifts around in the last couple of weeks. Typical, I can't find it right now. It's somewhere on Twitter. I'll post it in Discord or something like that. But yeah,
gotta pull it up beforehand, man.
I didn't know I was going to be talking about it, so yeah, I can't do that. Like, I can't preempt all that stuff.
Anything you're excited about, leave it on your screen and just be like, "Oh, I hope we talk about this."
I know. I actually used to, towards the start of the podcast, I'd be really nervous about things to talk about, so I used to write out bullet point lists and stuff and actually follow lists. Now it's just completely off the cuff. I just like.
So we're speaking of Deadpool 3 right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's confirmed, but there's a rumor that Lady Deadpool will appear in Deadpool 3.
I saw that today, and I heard another rumor about Deadpool 3 as well. Ben Affleck reappearing as Daredevil.
Okay. I'm down with that. That would be fun. They did fucking the script for Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds, so they went into that universe where like they were writing the script. Yeah. So I'm like, why not? That's fun. That sounds really fun.
Yeah. So I think again, the whole movie is kind of Deadpool kills the Fox universe. So I think like they're gonna
I'll take that.
Him and whatever version of Wolverine that they end up landing on or whatever, because there's gonna be multiple Wolverines in the movie as well. Him and one of them end up bouncing around, and I think they're gonna go to that Daredevil universe. And Affleck's gonna come back. I love it, dude. I think it's great. I hope they actually get Jon Favreau to be happy as well. It'd be fucking brilliant.
Oh man,
I'm excited for Deadpool. Like I think I love the first Deadpool movie. I've seen it a bunch of times. The second Deadpool movie, I think I've only watched like twice. It's good, but it wasn't as good as the first one, I thought. I'm very excited for this third one just because of everything
Really?
going on it. Yeah.
I actually like the second one more.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't feel that I liked it more. I thought it was good. It was very enjoyable, but it just didn't slap the same for me that as the first one did. And I know Cable's in it and stuff like that, and X Force and all, but I don't know. It didn't feel as good to me.
Well, that to me, that was the fun part. Like, you had Cable, you had X Force, you had Juggernaut, bro. Like, you had fucking like an actual CG fucking Juggernaut. Why can't you do that in the movies, man? Like, that's so cool. Like, he didn't have to do shit. He didn't have to charge anybody. He's literally, I'm gonna pull you apart now. That was great. And then he's gone, and it's like cool.
You know, Ryan Reynolds was that Juggernaut as well.
Fuck yeah, that works. I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
But how awesome is that cameo? It's like Juggernaut's in jail. He's just fucking chilling in jail. And then they break him out and he's like, I'm gonna be a dick now.
It was good. It was good. I liked Brad Pitt's little cameo. It's like the shortest cameo in like Hollywood history. It's like 8 frames or something he's in. It's like literally the shortest cameo of all time.
Yeah, that's fine. And they probably didn't have to pay him a lot. They just were like,
I think he did it for free.
That's fine.
He just popped out the set one day. But that's the kind of shit that I love. And I always say this, like, you know, if I was an actor and, you know, you were in that clique and you like, you know, you became friends with all these people, started doing movies with them and stuff, I would love to be like just jumping into different movies and doing little cameos here and there. Like I'd nearly be paying them to do that. Like, cause I would love that shit.
Dude, I bet you anything it was like Brad Pitt. I'm assuming Brad Pitt knows Ryan Reynolds well. Like, maybe he called Ryan Reynolds. Is like, hey man, is there any way I can get in for like a few seconds? I'd love to be in a movie with you guys. And he's like, yeah.
Evans is now doing that. Like, Evans and Ryan Reynolds are kind of like showing up in each other's shit now. And
it's fun. It's fun. So like, good.
Evans showed up in Free Guy, had that like great what the shit moment. Like, that was just fucking phenomenal. And then what was Reynolds' movie recently? Or no, sorry, Chris Evans' movie, the one that he did where he was what was the movie? It wasn't The Grey Man, it was something else. There was a movie that Reynolds did, I think, recently, and then Chris Evans showed up in it, or the other way around. Sorry, it was Chris Evans' movie. It was the one where he's like the spy or whatever. Or the one, sorry, it's like the love one with what's her name, Anna Damaris or whatever. It's
I can't remember.
Like, what's it called? Oh my god, I can't. Ghosted. Yes.
Okay.
So Evans did this movie. It was like a kind of rom-com with your one Anna Damaris, like, you know, she's the hot shit in fucking Hollywood right now. So the two of them did the movie together. But Reynolds shows up and does a little cameo, and it was kind of his thank you for him appearing in Free Guy. So they're kind of doing that back and forth shit with each other. And I just love that sort of shit. Like, I'm just like, more people need to be doing that in Hollywood. And I know, like, Reynolds kind of makes these little relationships with people like him and Jackman obviously have their shit going as well. Like,
oh yeah.
But yeah, like I'd be doing that all day if I was an actor.
Dude, like, and I really do believe that it was literally Brad Pitt calling Ryan Reynolds, or Ryan Reynolds calling Brad Pitt. It's like, hey, you want to be in a movie for a second?
Yeah, like,
and they because if you think about it, like, Brad Pitt was in Bullet Train, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch Bullet Train?
Yes.
Okay. Remember the fucking twist at the very end? He's like, we're looking for this man. And he's like, that's not me. He was like, it turns out it was Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Like, it's like, do little things like that are just brilliant. Like, Evans had that movie Ghosted. Like, again, you should watch it if you haven't seen it. It's on Apple TV.
Okay.
But he had loads of little cameos in it. I don't even want to tell you them now because it'll ruin it for you. But like, you'll be watching it going, oh my god, he actually got him to pop in and do a little cameo. It's fucking brilliant. Like, it's really good. He has like 3 or 4 big ones, like, and they're fucking class. They're so good.
That's funny. Our buddy's literally about to watch Deadpool 2 right now. I wonder why. Like, I wonder what spawned in his brain. Like, I kind of want to watch Deadpool 2 right now, unless the kids want to watch it.
I don't know if I'd be showing that to kids, to be honest. It's
there's the nice episode, like the nice movie. Like, you can totally do it that way.
True. I still wouldn't do that though. Sacrilege.
So there's another rumor going on that the Infinity Stones are going to return to the MCU in the future.
Did you see that there's like a theory out there that they were actually in Ant-Man Quantumania?
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
Because you know the way you see the little like creatures that have the stones for heads, and then like Thanos said, I reduced them to atoms. So
yeah,
that's
well,
them. Like
because you
that is
can't
them.
because in the sense like matter cannot be created nor destroyed. It
Exactly.
like it will only transfer from one thing to another. Like so, in the sense like it's probably very minuscule right now. What if they're regenerating over time and whatnot? Like what if they pull the stones from like the TVA kind of situation and then they just bring them back into the MCU that way as well? That would be a little bit of a cop out. I would much prefer the quantum realm shit.
Didn't they mention though that the Infinity Stones could only work in their designated universe? So
I think you're right.
Stone, yeah. So like if you brought stones from the TVA, they wouldn't work.
Gotcha. Okay. Well then, fuck it. Like they're in. That'd be great though. Like imagine like they're just slowly like regenerating over time, or they realize like, oh shit, we could totally get them back.
Yeah, well,
and like they grab them.
Someone could come up from the quantum realm and bring them with them.
Right.
And they're back in play.
See, and it's kind of funny because like a lot of people, like I know that not very many people like Quantumania. I was one of them that actually liked it. But like the quantum realm, the negative negative space, like that, the Fantastic Four find and whatnot, like all that stuff matters. Like that's some like really interesting shit that takes form in the universe itself, and like it matters for different aspects of like the show, or like for the comic series in it itself. Because you could do whatever you want in those kind of spaces. It's like the multiverse. Like you could do whatever you want. And so like if that's the case and they're just like stuck in there, how awesome is it that like maybe there's superheroes that are just stuck in there, like the Fantastic Four were actually stuck in there. Like that's what Hoffman used to say in the past.
And it makes sense as well. Like if they are planning on doing the Fantastic Four, that they were actually around in the 60s, because I think doesn't Doctor Strange reference that? He's like, weren't you abandoned in the 60s or something? And I think that's kind of to potentially a little kind of like spoiler as to maybe yes, they were around and they either got lost in space or they went down to the quantum realm or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm trying to find this picture. Oh my god, here it is. I can't find a good quality picture, but I want to. I have to show you this. Sorry, real quick. Just for anybody. Did you find it? Yeah, just for anybody who's listening to us right now who doesn't know what I'm talking about in Quantumania, but there's actually. It's a very. I can't find a good picture of it, but hang on, let me just see if I can just share this very quickly. You might be able to see it. So they have. Do you remember these little dudes that were in Quantumania? Like they're the stone.
Oh yeah,
they're the stone.
Yeah, okay.
So like I'm searching for it and I can't actually fucking find a proper.
Like you can't find like a definite picture, but yeah, I can see what you're saying.
That one's a bit better, but like yeah, like they're like tiny little creatures. But the second I saw them as well, I was like, "What's up with these guys?" Oh, there's the meme I saw.
Gone reduced to atoms.
There you go, bro.
That's a cool. That would be a really cool concept, man. Just to be able to like say like, yeah, they're not gone. Yeah. You can't just destroy them outright. Like they come back in some form. Yeah. Like that would make the best sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
I think they might actually use that. Like that they have to be there for a reason. And I don't believe that there's like these little stone creatures like in the quantum realm. Like it doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all. Like, and I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to like even if it's just an Easter egg, they can use that later. They could be like, we'll put this in our back pocket. We'll use it later when we get the chance.
For sure.
So, moving on. Why haven't we talked about Kraven the Hunter yet?
Because Sony's gonna Sony, and I don't really want to talk about it.
Still a Marvel movie, man.
True. No, look, I'll be very honest with you. When I first watched that trailer, I'm not a massive Kraven fan, so I had kind of forgotten a bit about like his lore and stuff and how he got his powers and stuff. You know, like apparently he's supposed to drink a magic potion which gives him the powers of the hunter. That's how the story goes in the comics. But when I first watched that trailer, I was kind of like, the action looks pretty good in it. You know, I'm like, oh, Russell Crowe's here. Like, you know, it was interesting. It doesn't look too bad, but again, like I always got to go back to the likes of like Morbius and stuff. It's like I liked the first trailer of that movie as well, like, but we all know how that finished. So it's kind of just like I can't hold high hopes for anything that Sony's doing. especially when it's like movies like this where there's no Spider-Man in it. Like these are Spider-Man villains, like, you know, and it's like just put them in a Spider-Man movie. Like, just stop this, like, please.
Yeah.
Just stop.
No,
It's just it's painful.
it really is painful. Like, to be completely fair, but I wanted to talk about it because of the fact that it's painful. not so much like, oh my god, I'm so hyped for Kraven. No, it's more so like, this is another Morbius. It's literally another Morbius situation. Like,
I'll watch it and I might enjoy it. I don't know, but again, it's like they're putting us into a position where it's like you can't like these projects because they just don't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, how have they
not at all.
How have they had 2 Venom movies and a potential third one on the way where we're going to have no Spider-Man? Now, I know they're kind of gearing up to have a Spider-Man show up in Venom 3. Like, it'd be a true shock if they didn't bring a Spider-Man into Venom 3, whether it's Andrew Garfield or a new Spider-Man altogether, or it's Tom Holland, somebody. They're going to do something with a Spider-Man in the third one. They have to. But the fact that we've gotten 2 movies without a Spider-Man is just ridiculous to me. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
we got a Morbius movie where, you know, he originally gets his powers because a bit of Spider-Man's blood mixes with his blood, and it gets like shot with like radioactive lasers or something. If I remember correctly, it's something to do with Spider-Man is a part of the reason why he's a vampire. It's something to do with some of Spider-Man's DNA. He manipulates it or something like that. So, like, again, Spider-Man's involved in his creation. We get a movie. It had nothing to do with Spider-Man. Venom, nothing to do with Spider-Man. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure the Venom symbiote gets its powers, like, which mimic Spider-Man, you know, the web shooting, the sticking to walls, all that sort of stuff, is because it merges with Peter first, right? And then when it goes to Eddie, it's kind of kept a bit of the Spider-Man stuff, and that's kind of how he sticks with that stuff, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, in the sense, like, Morbius, like, they do kind of go true with the origin story in terms of Morbius, because like he was afflicted with like a rare blood disease.
Yes.
And he was a brilliant scientist. He attempts to cure himself using vampire bat DNA.
Yeah.
And electroshock therapy, and then it puts the blood disease into remission, but it basically turns him into a vampire.
But isn't it when he somehow gets his hands on some of Spider-Man's DNA, he's like, oh, I can use this because it's replicating and healing itself. So he ends up bringing a bit of that into his formula or whatever. So it's part of Spider-Man's DNA that gives him his powers. So that's why Peter feels guilty about it.
Well, it may be that, but as far as I know, it's actually that Lizard finds out that Morbius's blood can actually revert him back to human form.
Okay.
And so, like, they use that in the sense to try to revert him.
Right.
So, again, like,
yeah, you're talking about, again, another Spider-Man villain, another Spider-Man character.
Right. Yeah. Like, and it's supposed to be all interconnected, and they're not doing shit with it. They're just making them standalones, which is not the way to go, man. Like, Kraven's
Rhino at the very end of the trailer as well. Sorry.
That was weird.
Yeah. He's like morphing into Rhino.
It was weird because it's not a Spider-Man movie. Like, we don't need to see it.
Are Sony setting up a Sinister Six, and then they're gonna introduce one of the Spider-Man in to fight them all? Like, that kind of feels like what they're doing.
It's possible. I mean, but like, if this is not in association with Marvel, like okay, so then maybe they have a little bit of work on it, but I don't know how much work they're actually going to put into it, because like, what the fuck are you going to do with Morbius, with Kraven, or even Rhino?
I think it all banks on the fact that Sony gave Spider-Man to Marvel, and a part of the agreement was that they would be able to take Spider-Man back and introduce him in. So I think that's what the plan will be. I think, you know, Sony are going to build up their own little Spider-Verse, and then when they're ready to pounce and they have like a Sinister Six introduced, then they're like, okay, we're taking Spider-Man back now. So Tom Holland, come over to us. You're going to do a movie with us now, and you're going to go against the Sinister Six that we've been building up for 5 years. Like, gotcha. On paper, it sounds great. But the movies just haven't been good. You know what I mean? And the fact that they have like Vulture showing up in Morbius, and it's like Michael Keaton, and it's like, oh yeah, let's go get this Spider-Man kid, and you're like, what? Like,
what the fuck are you talking about? Like, at what point during the entire movie was Morbius like, yeah, I'm gonna be a villain now?
Yeah, I know.
Like, it was fucking.
He spent the whole movie trying to be the good guy.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, it's like, hey, you want to go get that Spider-Man guy? Or he's just like, intriguing. So you're like,
so
what?
fucking dumb. Like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
I know, bro. That really pissed me off. I hear
But
that
like,
Venom 3 apparently, I don't know if this is official kind of plot leaks or whatever, but I think that the kind of rumor out there is that the story is gonna, because you know the way Venom is introduced to the multiverse, and then the symbiote knows that the multiverse is real or whatever, or maybe had the whole time. So I think that Venom goes to look for Spider-Man, and then I think he realizes, I think he sees some vision of the future where it's like the symbiote gets killed by Spider-Man, so they decide, okay, we're gonna go find Spider-Man and kill him first.
Okay.
And then that's how Venom gets to New York. That's how Venom, becomes kind of the enemy or the villain to Spider-Man, because it's like, shit, this guy's going to kill us in the future, so we got to kill him first.
I guess that could kind of work. It's just kind of a weird take on that. Like, it just feels like I guess so, because like you see a future of that kind of situation, but like he latches onto Spider-Man, and that kind of brings in like that future sense, or what exactly is the case?
Because you know the way Venom talks about the kind of, what is it? What does he? I can't remember. I haven't seen the movie in so long, but he refers to himself being all knowing and having like, view of like the entire universe and everything. You know the way he's trying to tell Eddie, he's like, I can't tell you what I know because it'll, like, your human brain will explode.
Right.
So I think he then like the symbiote then realizes, shit, the multiverse is open, and then kind of expands that knowledge and maybe kind of gives Eddie information that he can take, that it's like, okay, there's this guy Spider-Man who he sees on the TV at the end of the thing. It's like, this dude's going to kill you down the line, so let's go get him first so we don't die. We need to survival instinct on, like switch it up. We need to try and kill this guy because he's going to kill us.
I mean, I guess that might seem to work. I just need to see it like on the screen, like as a preview or something, just to kind of get a better like viewpoint of what exactly should be done in terms of like that kind of plot, details. Because as far as we know, it's like it's all broken up right now. That basically he can see into the future in that sense. He can see that Spider-Man is the one that kills him, and so he's going to go kill him himself. And it's like, well, what if that? I mean, it'd be great if the twist is that it's like a false kind of like prophecy or future because that was from like a different universe or something. Then like, what if it creates confusion and whatnot? And so that's how we meet Spider-Man. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to kill you. What the fuck is your problem?
Yeah.
And then it turns out like Carnage, I don't know. And just
yeah,
it just seems weird.
It is weird. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but other than that, man, like the whole Kraven situation, it just no. Like, I don't know. Like, I know it's probably because they need to retain the rights because they have to. I think it's the same thing with Spider-Man. You have to kind of put out a movie every few years just to make sure that you retain the rights.
Yeah.
So
what do you think about like the lion blood going into his system, and that's how he gets his powers?
I mean, that's fine because like he does imbue himself with like, a potion or something.
Radioactive lion.
Yeah, radioactive.
Like, how does a bit of lion's blood give him like superhuman abilities?
He might as well have turned into Martin Sheen at that point.
Yeah.
Or is it Michael? God, I can't remember. Because is it Michael Sheen?
Charlie Sheen.
God damn it. Charlie Sheen, god damn it. I couldn't remember.
Tiger Blood.
Yeah, Tiger Blood.
He just becomes a big sessioner. No, like I don't know, bro. I think that's one of the main things that I've seen a lot of people giving out about all the Spider-Man hardcores. It's like, wait, that's how he gets his powers? Like, what? This doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And like, the movie like is Kraven being like anti-hunting, and like, he's against it. Like, the whole movie is him hunting down poachers and killing poachers. So it's like you're doing Kraven the hunter, but he's not even a fucking hunter.
Kraven the poacher hunter.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's an animal rights activist. Like that's what they're doing. That was leaked out like maybe 8 months ago, and like people were just like, "Nah, that can't be real. That can't be real."
That's stupid.
Watch the trailer again, bro. The only people that he goes after are poachers. Like, he's killing the poachers. Like, and like that's how he gets his powers as well. He won't kill the lion, and then the lion like basically kills him.
No, like Kraven's literally supposed to be hated by everyone because he's a poacher.
Exactly.
He kills every animal that he can kill because he wants to
Sony's gonna Sony, bro. This is it. Exhibit A, like, you know, this is what they do best. They just take
Oh
it,
my
take
God.
shit and just change it, and that's what everyone's problem is. Like,
what
no one gives a shit.
So now I'm predicting that both Vulture and Morbius are going to show up at the after credits, and they're going to be like, "We have the biggest game of all for you."
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, exactly.
3 out of 6.
Yeah, and they'll get the Rhino as well.
Could I come?
Yeah.
I come too. Oh God, dude, this is gonna be bad, but I can't wait to watch it anyway because it's bad.
I know, it's a kind of like, you know, the way people watch like slasher movies and stuff, and like they're bad, but because they're bad, they're kind of good,
dude.
That's the kind of feeling I'm getting off these like comic book movies from Sony. It's like, let's see how bad this really is. You know what I mean? Like, let's go and see how bad they fuck this up.
That's why there's like 8 or 10 Sharknados. Because it's bad, but it's just it's so bad it's funny and it's good.
Exactly.
Like
Friday the 13th Part 9. It's like, you know, how do we need 9 of these? It's like, you know, come on,
dude. I think I've actually recommended it to you before. Have you watched The Velocipaster yet?
I have it, but I haven't watched it. I have a copy of it, but I haven't watched it. Yeah,
it's so fucking ridiculous.
Oh man, I need to be in the right mindset for that movie, man. Like, just even, dude, I saw the poster for it, and I was like, wow, this is gonna be tough. Like,
the movie is aware that it's bad.
Yeah,
and I love it because it turns into this, because I don't want to spoil too much, but I just want to say, like, it turns into the situation of like, you don't get to see what he turns into yet until like late.
Oh, God.
So like it turns into like the slasher thing where you're like, he's transforming and then he kills someone, and then he wakes up in a stupor like, did I kill someone?
Fucking ridiculous, dude.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to bring up, or should we end it there?
So,
we're an hour and a half in.
One last little tidbit.
We can't end on Velocipaster.
No. Why not? Anyways. True. So I know we talked about the live action One Piece series like last week.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I know this sounds funny to kind of bring it up again, but I guarantee you this is Marvel news. So like the live action series is being written partially by Matt Owens.
Okay.
And so I don't know if you know who Matt Owens is.
Not off the top of my head.
But he was the writer for Luke Cage, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Defenders.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, those aren't 3 top projects by Marvel.
No. and he's literally the writer / creator for the One Piece live action.
I read something today that each episode of One Piece has like a $13 million budget, like making it like one of the most expensive like TV series of its kind.
I thought it was 18 million. It was like fucking. It's a fuck ton.
It's literally a lot of money.
More than The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's just like there's 8 episodes as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
And they've already got like a bunch of they've already got the names for the titles, and it sounds like they're gonna get as far as maybe Arlong Park, which is right before. Like, I don't know why they have like that scene where they all put their foot on the barrel, because that scene is like right before they go into the Grand Line. And so unless they skip Arlong Park, they're not going to get there within 8 episodes.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna ask you. Like, I wonder, are they doing like 1 episode per like 100 episodes of the show or something, or are they like, because there's no way a live action show will ever be as long as this animated show has been. Like, you know, there's no way. Like, even like Doctor Who, that's been running for 50 years, like there's still not that many episodes. Like, you know, there's
right.
You know, so how are they gonna do it?
So, like, looking at the titles, one of them is called the girl with the saltfish tattoo, which is a reference to Nami and Arlong Park. So it sounds like they are going to have to do that. They're going to go.
How far in is that? Like episode count wise? Like, are you talking
100? That's 50 episodes in, I think, like 40 to 50.
Okay.
So like they have the Eat at the Baratier, which is like that's when they meet Sanjay. They say like tell no tales, which is Usopp. They have the chef and the chore boy, which is probably going to be like a backstory of Sanji. They have the man in the straw hat, which is probably going to talk about what's his name, Shanks. The pirates are coming, which is kind of a weird, ambiguous kind of thing. I'm assuming that maybe that's going to be like the last episode. And then Worst in the East, I'm assuming that's going to be with Buggy. So like they're like spearheading this really bad. Like it feels like it's going to be rushed so hard, and that there's going to be there's no magic to it. Because as much as I know that most people are like, oh man, One Piece is very like, it's long, it drags you along, it's long driven, like it takes too long, like it's the pacing on it is horrible. The pacing on it is horrible because like if you were to go chapter by chapter and to go into each section of it, like it's not that long. It's only a few pages. So like they had to elongate a little bit. Plus Oda needed time. Oda needs time to write his shit. And right now he's on a hiatus. We're not getting another manga for like a month. Like I checked on Shonen Jump. We're not getting another chapter for like 23 days.
Yeah. So I know Andre's big into this. So he's saying that enters as a grand line.
Dude, like you and I are on the same page, Andre. It's like, he supervised the creation. He needs to give this okay for the future episodes. Great. But like, you have to also understand that like, it's in the sense that like, maybe he has to pull back on a lot of things because it's obviously not going to be done the same way that we saw in the anime, because in the anime, you can have all these like stretchiness. You can have all these like different like looks to the characters, different animations for like attacks and whatnot. And I'm hoping something like pops out from it, something spectacular. If not, then it's just going to be a lackluster show with Luffy, who feels like not as innovative as he was in the show itself. Luffy in the show is a fucking dummy, like, but he's smart when it comes to like things that he has to take care of. He is downright a dumb character. So to hear in the trailer going, I'm sensing a little, disturbance with the crew, and it's like we're not part of the crew, and it's like, like, what is this American style fucking talk? I'm sick of that shit. Like Luffy doesn't give a fuck if the crew is being pissy with each other. Only if they feel like they're gonna kill each other is when he'll step in. They will skip a lot of filler. Don't need that. There's no filler in the first 60s, like 80 something episodes.
Maybe that'll be the first 2 seasons or something. They'll do the first 80 episodes.
There's 10% filler in the entire show, and there's over 1,000 episodes. So like roughly 100 of them are filler, and those 100 are in the span of like the post arc of that show. Like, so if you got to Alabasta, post Alabasta is filler. If you go into Enies Lobby, post Enies Lobby is filler. Anything that is post what they've accomplished, is filler. So like, it's very small points. The point between them getting to the grand line is filler, so you can skip that. It's very minuscule.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you need to see Nami smash their head a couple times, see the Twitter for go whack on that female. I agree. I want Nami. I don't care if it blacks out for a second and pops back in. I want Nami to pull out her staff and like hit them a couple times, and you see like they're like, oh fuck, they got like hit and they got like those big bumps on their head, like the cartoon style. But like, it doesn't have to be cartoon style in that sense. Like, I don't need like full on cartoon style. I just need them to show how important it is that these personalities are. Like, there's a reason why we love all these characters in the show. Like, there's a I have a feeling we're gonna watch it. We don't have to talk about it for the sake of the podcast. I'm just saying, like, I think you and I should watch this at the very least, just so that you can kind of get an idea of like what we watched in the anime.
You're talking to me? Yeah,
I'm talking to you.
Like, I'll watch it. I presume it'll be made for people who've never seen the show, like, so they'll have to have a kind of dumbed down kind of intro telling of the story, like for people who have never seen it, because like I don't see myself watching the anime. I'm not gonna lie, like
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think I will, but I'll jump in and watch the show so we can talk about it here. Like, I know you're very passionate about it, so that's definitely going to be content that we'll do a bit of this when we're doing it next time. So, like,
just you in the background, like
I'll just be here, like, hey.
I'm gonna go get a drink and some popcorn. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah, so this seems more fitting for when we're talking about One Piece. So, sure.
Just stare at the camera. And another thing.
Yeah, I'll just be like, yeah. Bing. So yeah, look, guys, we're at an hour and 40. I think we should probably wrap it up for the week, but we'll be back next week. We'll be talking episode 2 of Secret Invasion. Hopefully, episode 2 is better. I hear it is. So I think next week we'll have a lot more positivity to talk about the show. It's kind of just been middies for me at the moment. Like, I'd probably score the first episode maybe a 6 out of 10. That's probably being kind as well. So maybe even 5. I think 5
I'm giving it a 5.
Yeah, 5 or 6. 5 or 6 is very acceptable. Yeah, for sure. So look, guys, if you're new to the channel, drop a like on the video, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment below if you're watching a replay, all that usual stuff. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Hey, everyone.